So welcome everyone once again now to the Realty Plus webinar series where we are talking about South cities. And first in line is Chennai, where we are talking about the housing sector. Before we go on to the discussion, a small intro about what Realty Plus is all about. We are part of Exchange for Media and Business World Group, and we have been serving the real estate industry for more than 16 years now with our monthly publication, which is the Realty Plus magazine, and it covers all aspects of real estate building and construction sector. This magazine is available in print as well as e-edition. Apart from this magazine, we also have a yearly publication, which is the Realty Plus Coffee Table Books. These are collector's edition, which come out on specific topics every year, such as the luxury projects of the year, the affordable housing projects of the year. Recently, we did all building material brands of the year, and our eighth coffee table book, which is coming up, is called the Realty Plus Super CXO, which is will be featuring the real estate influencers from the sector. A very coveted and a very interesting publication that we are coming up with, and it is already in the production stages. Another of the interesting products that we are coming up with is the Realty Plus Tech Titans, which is in association with as the knowledge partner. And here we will be featuring the real estate firms which are proactively adopting technology in a very big way, and also the technology solution providers who are coming out with innovative solutions for the sector. So another very interesting book and is soon to be launched. Apart from these publications, we have Realty Plus Conclave and Excellence Awards, which are, we do across 6 cities of the country. And, with the online, everything going online and virtual, we are now coming up with these Conclave and Excellence Awards on virtual platform. And the first one of this is going to happen for Gujarat region in August. And I promise you, this is going to be one of its kinds awards ceremony of one of the most innovative virtual platforms. So please keep looking forward to it. We also have a Realty Plus Digital Connect initiative, where we are digitally connecting with all our partners, our readers, and our sponsors and the industry peers. One of the product, as we are doing today, the Masterclass webinar. We also have Realty Plus Real Talk series, where we talk to industry experts, the video interviews we do with them for their facts, opinions on some interesting topics. We also have a daily e-newsletter, which goes out to the entire database with the latest news on the sector, expert opinions and views, and some interesting segments. Apart from that, we are very active on social media, whether it is Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc., where we connect with our readers, our peers, and our partners, and promote our activities. So these were some of the snippet of the activities that we are doing and the forthcoming products that we are launching soon. If you would like to know more about these things, please do get in touch with Tripti Kedia, our business head and publisher. The contacts are right there, tripti@exchangeformedia.com. Coming back to the webinar of today, where, as I mentioned, we will be talking about what's trending in Chennai's housing sector. And we have a very panel with us here today. We have, the top leaders of the Chennai real estate sector. Later in the evening, we will also be joined with Mr. K.E. Ranganathan, who's the Managing Director for ROCA, and Ruhail Amin, who is the Senior Editor for BW Business World. So they'll be joining in as the Q&A panel to question our speakers. Now I will introduce our speakers. First of all, let me introduce the moderator for today's session, Mr. Siva Krishnan. He is the Head Residential Services, Developer Solutions and Strategic Consulting and Managing Director for Chennai JLL India. Mr. Krishnan, a very warm welcome to you. I introduce our speakers in alphabetical order. We have, in fact, let me give a small brief of Mr. Krishnan. He has over 21 years of experience in real estate, and he drives all business lines in Chennai and also nurtures go-to-market strategies. In fact, he is also part of JLN India's Leadership Council. Our speakers now, our first speaker, Mr. Arun Emin. He's the founder and managing director of Tesagran, and he's a first generation entrepreneur. In fact, in his last 15 years, more than 15 years of journey in real estate, he has introduced many unique projects like wellness community, friendly community, etc. And he has also expanded his real estate business operation across Coimbatore and Bangalore now. Mr. Arun, pleasure to have you here with us today. Our next guest is Jayant Hemdev. He's the business director, Hemdev's Real Estate. He has 30 years of experience in real estate consulting and advisory services. And in fact, his firm has been providing real estate solutions in buying, selling, rental of residential and commercial properties, investment in land, hospitality, and retail, among others. Thank you, Jayant, for joining us today. Our next speaker, a very eminent personality, Dr. R. Kumar, who's the chairman and managing director for Naveen. In fact, Dr. Kumar has a doctorate in construction science and management training from Harvard Business School. And for last 3 decades, he has been leading the organization and is known in the industry as a thought leader. Mr. Kumar, it's a pleasure to have you here with us today. Our next speaker, again, a very eminent and expert on real estate, for whom real estate, in fact, is not a profession but passion. That is Mr. P. Babu. He's the first generation entrepreneur and is the chairman and CEO of Akshaya Private Limited. In his 24 years of journey, Akshaya has achieved many milestones, and they have introduced many pioneering concepts like differently abled projects, elderly friendly projects. And in fact, he recently introduced Akshaya Homes Fact Book for, to give guidelines for home buyers. So some very unique initiatives from Mr. T. Babu. Mr. Babu, a very warm welcome to the panel today. Our final speaker for this evening is Mr. W.S. Habib. He is the chairman and managing director for RWD Private Limited. He's a chemical engineer and has over 2 decades of experience in real estate. He is a first generation entrepreneur. In fact, he was also the immediate past president of CREDAI. He's the GCB member of CREDAI Tamil Nadu. And in fact, he's the Director General for United Economic Forum, Chamber of Commerce. So some very eminent speakers we have today. Mr. Krishnan, I hand it over to you to please take over the conversation, and let's go ahead with the discussion.
Thank you, Sapna. Good evening to all of you. We have a dream panel today from a Chennai perspective. All stalwarts of Chennai real estate market. We have Arun from Casa Grande. We have Jayant from Hemdev. We have Mr. P. Babu from Akshaya. We have Dr. Kumar from Amin Housing. We have Habib from RWD. So I just can't find a better panel than this from a Chennai perspective. So cutting short, I straight away getting into the discussion. If you look at it from a COVID perspective, COVID impact for started from March. Now we are in the month of June. We are getting various feel from different markets. Like for example, Bangalore is talking about the fact that we have almost reached a 70-80% level of activity in Bangalore. Pune is talking about good activity in terms of closures as well as site visits. I just want to understand from Jayant to start. What is your perspective about the COVID impact in Chennai as of now? Plus, what's the kind of feel you're getting from the ground as of today?
Thanks, Shiva. Good evening to everybody. To start with, I think we must first understand that buying a home is a process that normally takes 2 to 3 months. it's not instant buying. So the positives today for prospective buyers are the reduction in home loans, the revision in the stamp duty done by the government, and on for sale properties, competitive pricing that's being offered by developers. We as realtors today see that genuine end-use inquiries have picked up with some site visits taking place. Marketing, communication and advertising of these projects now are primarily done on digital platforms, and technology is being used extensively for virtual walkthroughs and shortlisting of options by prospective buyers. Chennai, by far, has been a end user rather than a investor driven market. And as an asset class, there's nothing better than a property we as Chennaites believe in. And I'm sure the rest of the country also believes in. Today, what a buyer is looking at is value for money in the current scenario. And we personally feel pre and post-COVID, now in the next 2-3 quarters, the market is definitely going to go northwards. We cannot go anything below than this. We are seeing a lot of positives that have been coming from prospective buyers. The inquiries in the segment between the 35 and the 60 lakh segment has been the maximum so far. The 60 lakhs to 1 crore segment has been seeing traction. The luxury, which is 1 crore and above, and the ultra luxury are for sure going to see a lot of attraction, because it is a great deal for a buyer today to invest today. He is only going to go. He's only going to gain from here on when he picks up a property. So overall, what I see, or what rather we see, is the market give it a quarter or two, and it's going to bounce back for sure.
Thanks, Jain. Arun, over to you. See, from a Chennai market perspective, we have got products across segments, across micro markets. What is the general you're getting from the market? Do you think the customers are coming back to the sites, they're buying properties? And to Jain's point, do you think that the customers are coming back again in the ultra luxury and the premium segment today?
See, what's happened is there's a pent-up demand. Normally, in the last 3 months when the whole lockdown happened, there used to be a huge traction. In fact, April used to be a very good month for us, so was March, and so was even May for the matter, even June. All these, I mean, okay, June was open. What's happened, there's really a pent-up demand which has happened, where people who intend to normally buy in this period would not have bought. So actually what we are seeing very clearly is there is a sudden surge in purchase when the market opened up between the May last week and the June 1st and 2nd week. Again, there is a lockdown. At that point in time, there is a sudden surge. In fact, we saw a sizable spike, and we got as a firm, we got a little overexcited that everybody is really looking at buying more homes, and that could be a fact. That could be a fact. I wouldn't know that, but it could also becomes a pent-up demand. As Jain did mention, I'm seeing that people have understood the importance of home during this COVID scenario, that ultimately is the only protection for them. They see the value in it, and who knows, I mean, there's an inherent fear that what happens if this could ever repeat in our lives ever. So the emphasis to buy a bigger home is also coming. I'm thinking people are looking at buying bigger than what if somebody wanted to buy a 2-bedroom, they want to buy a 3-bedroom, and so on and so forth. I'm seeing a kind of a trend like that in the last about just 3 weeks or 4 weeks of operation since we kind of opened up. That's good for us. So I see that, I mean, not only just as a developer who wants to sound positive, I genuinely see that there would be a surge in the market in about a month and a half, and the market would get back to logical in about a 3 to 4 months. But during this period, there could be a sizable spike, and that could be because of the pent-up demand of products not being absorbed in the last 3 months when there is a lockdown. And I'm not very excited about that space, though we also do have products, only for a reason that actually, they are the people who might do a wait and watch. They just want to see what's happening and whether they want to hold on to the liquidity or whether they want to go ahead and invest. Let's face facts. For a person who's buying his first home, or a guy who's living in a much smaller house and trying to move to a normally slightly bigger size house, which is below the 70, 80, 90 lakhs, etc., I see that the demand being quickly, holding up. Yeah.
So Chitty, over to you. See, do you think that the one aspect Arun spoke about was urge to own a house is just coming back in the market. And Chennai being an end user market, it helps the market, number one. Do you also sensing any other triggers in the market which is making customers to come back to buy properties?
Interestingly, this COVID situation has given a lot of learning, lot of time for people to think. As Hemant said, usually the buying this thing takes about 3 to 4 months for people to decide. But now I think what we understood from the market and the kind of inquiries which is coming in, people are taking the decision. One, importance of a home is understood generally by everybody. And also the post environment which is happening around. See the price of gold, how it's rocketing, and the uncertainty which is happening in the stock market. And see what is happening in the border. Make in India, the trend is continuing. There is a lot of investment which is coming into the country. And there is also a lot of push on creating infra within the country, within the local available material and local available infrastructure with the people who's available here. With all this kind of, it's not only COVID triggered it, but there is also the other supporting factors also making a long queue. In fact, last 3 months, if you see, we always get one complaint generally from the sales people would be, sir, number of leads. Now it's, all the buckets are full. The leads are 5-fold or 10-fold multiplied in the last 3-4 months. So the trigger is there. Now the trend need to be watched, whether the buying home from the luxury segment is moving towards the affordable segment, or people are buying a larger home. This need to be really addressed to. We are also seeing the cultural changes. We are looking at one thing called co-living, co-working. How these places are going to react in the coming days, we need to be also watched. We are also saying working from home, a trend which is getting evolved. When you say so, are we going to have an impact in the commercial market, or the larger working places are going to move towards the smaller working places? See, one thing for sure, either this way or that, real estate is going to be a space which is going to be stabilized and it grow in great demand. One other thing for Chennai, interestingly, CREDAI Chennai has come with a very interesting number. The unsold stock remains only 7,129 units. It is getting absorbed. And most importantly, one thing we should notice, there is absolutely no launches or very few launches which has happened in this particular quarter. So the demand side is also, the supply is actually getting slowed down, and the demand is also building up, and the existing stocks is also getting absorbed. So with these current scenarios, one thing which necessarily need to happen in the market is the price going up. Irrespective of the COVID, irrespective of the the building materials price which is going up, the way it's going up, definitely the prices are going to shoot up in a short while. That's mainly because a new approval, which definitely takes 6 to 9 months, and the market need to bring in this kind of launches in the coming days is going to be short. It will take some time. So with all these advantages to the real estate, we are definitely seeing a huge surge in the market. The leads are already coming in. In next 2 to 3 months, we can definitely see a quick surge, and the reality will come back to its original position.
Dr. Kumar, one is the fact, it's a fact that there is a lot of job losses happening in the market. There is salary cuts which has happened in some of the sectors. Despite that, that's one common ground that we're getting across all panelists is that the demand has picked up in last 3-4 months time. The urge to own the property has gone up. The site visits have gone up. Mr. Chittibabu said the lead flow for all buckets are full today. And interestingly, we are also witnessing the fact that the interested customers are also going up. There is no, the number of customers who just come and window shop is also going down. From that perspective, the market is looking up. Do you really think that from this is the best time for the customer to buy a property? And do you really feel that the price will start going up as we move forward? If this changes from a demand, as Arun rightly pointed out, to a trend, if another 1 or 2 months time you see the continuous offtake of apartments continue to happen, do you think that the price will start moving up?
Absolutely, Siva, you hit the nail on its head. I'll tell you two things is, in addition to what Chitti and Arun, they were all saying, and Jayan, I'll tell you, there is a realization on the part of the customers that this is the best time to buy, which is very obvious. In fact, we had I think JLL and Naveen's, we had a webinar also on this subject, which you will recall. This is the best time to buy because the interest rates have been the lowest ever in the history of real estate in Chennai, in India. So this something like 7% is unheard of. That's the lowest interest rate, number one. And then again, there are a lot of other benefits which are continuing. The PMA scheme is continued for one more year. Plus, the builders are also now offering incentives, like they are pushing the sales by throwing certain incentives and some price cuts. They are offering. So there is a push from the builder side also. This is the best time for the buyer to buy. So I am seeing this very clearly. That is where they were not taking a position. They were sitting on the fence for quite a while. And now they see that the corona has triggered. In fact, there is also they have time to sit back and reflect on what their real needs are. See, there is another thing. Corona has done a lot of great things also in whatever pain points, but there are also good points. People have started reflecting what are our real needs. See, there is also the consumerism has gone. There is no consumerism. There is no push. There is no hype in the market. Like, no, you go and buy this. The distractions are low. Now people can make long-time decisions. They can sit back. All of them get together at home and think what is that we need. And home comes on top. And again, you can take insurance on the house or the loan. What happens? It also gets a beautiful cover for the family. The house is a security for the family. So all this has really pushed up the urge to buy. In fact, you said the number of site visits have not improved. It's not the number of site visits has gone up. There actually virtual visits are happening. A lot of on web-based marketing is happening. People are visiting websites, but the quality of site visits has gone up because this movement is restricted. Now somebody makes a site visit, he is certainly a buyer. The quality of site visit has gone up. One. Number two, second part of the question is, are the prices moving upwards soon? Yes. I'll tell you what is happening is, now there are no, Chidi said, there are no new launches coming. And the existing stock, people are not in a great hurry. Developers are not in great hurry to launch new projects, which means sooner or later, the demand supply situation will invert. Now the demand will be more, the supply will be less. So that will be triggering a jump in price. The prices will start moving up very soon. The PMA scheme is also ending by March 31st. I think this is the best period for the buyer to buy, and the prices are going to move very shortly upwards. I'm very clear on this.
Thanks, Dr. Kumar. Habib, are you witnessing any changes in the customer behavior in terms of any new changes they're asking for with respect to design elements? Are they asking for, since work from home is also becoming a reality now, and most of the corporates are saying about 10 to 15% will be a structured way of working from home. Do you think that as developers, we need to be equipped with new design changes, new requirement of the residential real estate market? Are you witnessing any kind of changes coming from customers?
Not really. I think there's a new pandemic is something new which has hit. Yes, it has opened up a lot of things. We were actually thinking we have to go to office to work, but I think that entire thing is shifting now, and home is now become an essential now. I think all these speakers have already said the change what is looked is today. I think this is going to be the future. This is work from home. Even our real estate thing, it is definitely going to go. At least 30-40% of the people can still operate and in our industry itself from home. So we have not actually witnessed anything to answer your question. But yes, now the buyers will be very careful now. To buy a larger home, to have extra room, or they want to accommodate, this kind of situation where they can comfortably sit at home and do the work. But the primary thing is only the internet connection. I think if that is strong, you have a good connection, I think probably that will address. Otherwise, I don't see any change. It is really, I think COVID has really given some positives also. You don't have to really rush and go, to work and, create chaos in the traffic and, polluting also. So I think, larger homes will be preferred. People will still prefer to, individual homes will be more preferred. In that way, I think I see that the trend could go there. But from the amenities point of view, we have not. I've been just speaking to my sales guys also. Any feedback from the customers on what is it? Actually, no. I think home is must, and they need a bigger home. And as long as you have a good connectivity, I think things can be solved.
Thanks, Abhi. My next question is to both Arun and Chitti, because Chitti came back with very nice concept of quarantine homes also in between last 30, 40 days back. I saw ads coming from that perspective. I'll start with Arun. My question to you, Arun, is that are you doing some design changes for your projects to come? Because there is an anticipation saying that you need to have a small study room or an office carved out inside the bedroom or a study room inside, because that also again creates a problem in terms of affordability. That's one aspect. The second aspect I want to ask you is that from a firm's perspective, from your firm's perspective, what are the things you did in terms of reaching out to the customers? Because in a lockdown, the conventional way of reaching out to customers may not suffice. So you need to come back with innovative methods of reaching out to the customers. What are the things you did to actually to reach out those customers to increase volume as far as the sales is concerned? So two questions: one, design elements, and the second aspect is what are the things you did from a firm's perspective to or the channels you employed to create more traction sales?
Yeah. The first part of the question, we are seeing a logical trend now, which I don't know whether every other builder is seeing, that a customer today, when I'm showing him 1,000 square foot and 1,150 square foot 2-bed or 1,200 square foot 2-bed, he's very clearly choosing the slightly larger one because it gives an extra option of, as you said, workstations and tables, etc. I'm not seeing it pushed to a point where they're asking for a separate room, because I don't think that's going to hold up, or that logic will hold up, because it's about a 9 to 7 is what he would work. I don't think people can really afford another 150 to 200 square foot for that as a room. So that trend would not happen, but I'm seeing people seeing more value in home today and hence look out for slightly larger size homes. A flip-in trend. Earlier there was a size, there's a general talk, all of us did talk about ticket size becoming important, hence the size of the units be shrinking. I'm seeing this flipping a little now in this recent past. I really cannot exactly correlate it to what has really happened because of COVID, but I would tend to think there is some kind of a mental dent in terms of wanting to buy slightly bigger homes. Other than that, I don't think anything, changes by and large in terms of what the home is going to be. And it's going to get better and better, but in terms of sizes, they want something slightly bigger. In terms of how we are reaching customers, what's happened now, they are not willing to step out very easily. Some customers are not willing to step out easily, though we've had a lot of site visits. People do actually come into sites. But what we've done is we've ensured there's a clear communication going to customers that our sites are extremely safe for them to come. We have a process in place to ensure social distancing happens. Not that he does, but social distancing happens. We provide all the infrastructure in terms of cleanliness, mask, everything whatsoever. We ensure every client and his families interface directly in a separate room very clearly, so that there is no possibility of him worrying about that. But in terms of reaching out to customers today, in fact, he's got a little more time. Actually, many calls are being picked up as against if you had to make 3 calls to reach out to a potential home buyer. Today, actually, it's maybe 2. Today, he's got the time to think through, etc. We are not having any problem of reaching out to him through either a call or through whatever medium we normally communicate through, WhatsApp, text, which we could send to him, etc. That's what has happened. In fact, a lot of customers are extremely forthcoming in terms of having longer discussions. In fact, today he's taking a very informed decision because he seems to have that little bit of extra time. As Mr. Kumar sir said, he's already possibly had the time to discuss with his family. He's thinking through, is coming up. So a good informed decision ensures a customer who books stays on and doesn't happen. See, normally in real estate trend, about 100 people book, 15, 20 people do get away. For some reasons actually, whatsoever. I would think that's also kind of somewhere stabilizing because he's taking more informed decision. So these are the 2 things which I'm seeing in terms of reaching customers and the spec of the home changing. I mean, the dimensions of the home changing. Yeah.
Chitty, your views, Chitty?
Of course, see, the point is larger home. What we quickly done is we had some 3 projects where we found the 2.5 and 3.5 is struggling those days. So we converted this quickly into a work from home office facility. That half a bedroom is typically we are marketed in such a way that half a bedroom can be also utilized as your work from home space. See, what is required to do this? You see, fundamentally, customers' requirement is very important. Customers are looking for Wi-Fi, uninterrupted power supply, and of course, some kind of a privacy when 2 people are sitting inside the home and working, and the simple lock arrangements and all those kind, which is easily doable. So there is a very good traction on work from home. That extended half a bedroom has been actually we couldn't able to launch new projects in the shorter while, but what we did is what is available with us, we have converted that into a work from home concept. It's really worked very well. See, now fundamentally the entire process need to be changed. See, the real estate developers, how we worked in the past, now from location wise or even in design, or in the kind of marketing what we do in the past, or the way we are going to do in the future, or the kind of execution what we are going to do, or the kind of delivery, the kind of registration, the item handover, every process need to be changed and relooked at. I was actually mentioning in one of our earlier this thing, we are in the 24th year of operations. We have gone through 2 large systemic change in the terms of process, one with the help of PwC and one in the later point of time with CRISIL. But I think we need to go for a change again at this point of time, because all these processes, what we have put in past, really doesn't become useful at this point of time, because this technology need to complete overtake in terms of execution. Now, depending on the labor is going to be a challenge. So now we all will agree why the cost is going to go up, why the pricing will going to go up. One, there is a short supply of cement and steel. Their production capacity is also slowed down. There are shifts which is happening. So naturally the prices are going up on cement, steel and all the other products. So material price is going up. Availability of labor. We used to work with about 4,000 to 5,000 people. Today we are working with about 1,500 people. Non-availability of labor. Now we need to get the labor from these places. We have already seen in the newspaper, people are trying to get them through aeroplane, trying to get them through various other offers. It is all cost. Typically, where we used to pay 500 rupees is becoming 700, 700 is becoming 1,000. Altogether, the cost of labor is going to be a challenge. Now, doesn't cost only with the wages payment of the labor. We used to handle the insurance, we used to handle the health, we used to handle. Now the states are also putting conditions saying that if you want labor from our state, you need to ensure that these things are followed. See the cost in the indirect cost which is going to come in. Indirect cost which is going to come in material, labor, and all this, the COVID expenses which we are carrying across. It is definitely going to have an impact on the cost. Necessarily, the prices need to go up. Now, how we are reaching out to the customers? Of course, virtual, digital is a method for quite some time now, 4-5 years. Probably we were trying to implement, and we are doing it. We are doing it in one particular manner, but it took absolute control. Now, without that doesn't move. Means it's a day of the requirement of the day. So, virtual to digital to accessing, reaching out, and getting the conversion, payment gateways, everything become the normal life. So there is a lot of see this is also given quite an opportunity for cost saving also. When I say cost going up, there is also a huge cost saving which is happening from the admin part of it. Definitely there is a huge cost saving in terms of reaching out the customer. See, our print cost has come down. I'm sure Arun will also accept. Our print cost is completely come down. We are not reaching out in ATL method. We are not reaching out in BTL. See, the major cost is ATL and BTL. ATL is print, BTL is reaching out in door-to-door step. All is gone. Now the methods which is available is only digital, or probably channel partner, or probably referrals. Largely, these 3 are the only mechanisms which is going to work, and the funnel is going to be larger there. So I'm definitely seeing a huge opportunity for developers, but developers has to change the track from one method to the newly adopted method. A new normal will definitely lead to good progress in coming days.
Thanks, Chitty. We'll definitely ramp up because you said one of the channels is channel partners. So we'll also ramp up from our side. So, Dr. Kumar, as taking a cue from Chitty, so he said two systemic issues happened in last 10, 12 years. One was your global financial crisis in 2008, and now it's a COVID crisis. I just want to understand from you your thoughts, how different, we know that it's affected multiple sectors, how different it is from GFC to current. We understand from a macro perspective. But again, I the same question is because this time we have seen more job losses, salary cuts across sectors. But still, why I'm harping on this point again and again is that, but still we are seeing a good amount of traction coming back on an asset class, which is very difficult because people are taking decisions very in terms of even buying a car or a two-wheeler, they are taking 100 times before taking a call. But from a housing perspective, we are not seeing that, and I don't think one could be the urge, but there is something else also in play, which is actually creating this movement. What could be that, Dr. Kumar?
In fact, the answer is in your question. The most important thing, despite job losses, yes, there are some job losses, but I'll tell you, there is more hype than reality. On the, yes, at the lower end of the spectrum, there are more job losses than at the spectrum which we are addressing, the middle income group and the higher income group. Those people at that level, what's happening is a completely different matter than at the lower end of the spectrum. One, and see as I said, the consumerism is down. Now, money is not going frittered away. What is happening is people have started to realize the value of money, and it has to go into some kind of a valuable investment, which will stand them in good stead in times of crisis like this. See, there is a thought process which is changing. So now, do I buy a car? Do I buy another car? See, the advertisements themselves have come down from when you see the luxury segments is as far as the luxury segment is concerned. I mean luxury products like the jewelry, like the consumer goods, like the automobiles. There is a lull. There is a thinking in spending on those. But when it comes to home, there are several factors which are operating in the minds of the people. As Arun said, there is the pent-up demand, not only on these 3 months. People have been waiting for the prices to fall for ages. 5, 6, 7 years, people have been thinking the prices are going down. Now the prices have gone. The last 5 to 7 years, the prices have not gone up. Itself means every year at least 12% if you take, about 70-80% drop in prices. Just that factor. So now that's one. And then even now people are also, the builders are also willing to give some incentives to the buyers to push them to buy. So the prices now are at the lowest ebb of the real estate industry. This is one factor which is really pushing people, and they know when the COVID is there, now the time even the builders are jittery, so they will give away some kind of discounts and close the deal. We also want to close the deal right now, forgetting about those people who are probably the threat of losing jobs or some kind of huge salary cuts. All others who can now take a decision are taking a decision towards buying a home. So I think psychology is working in favor of people and the market conditions. So I'll tell you today, again, the interest rates being very low, all that is pushing people. See, if you really see 7%, when was this 7%? I don't think in the last 15 years in my memory, it was never at this rate of interest you can get a housing loan. And again, I just also want to add on the design and this design part, as Arun said, it's not a separate room which they need. Your bedroom, if you can accommodate a reading table, I mean, it's all part of the design, which we always ensure as part of our design. Bedroom will also have space for a reading table, which is what is required for work from home. So slightly bigger apartments is a trend. So actually, we are bucking the table. It's producing something which is a contra result. There is the hype is the kind of make believe. People know the media is projecting that we are losing out. Yes, there is a fear that is being created, but still, I think a lot of sense prevails because there is time to reflect on, think through the problem, and then take decisions. This is a positive outcome.
Thanks, Dr. Kumar. This is for Jayant and Habib as well as Arun. On a macro level, how is COVID impacting the funding developers? Because my question is why is because if there is a liquidity problem in terms of construction finance and ease of access to funds, the launches again further come down. I just want to understand pick up your brain in terms of the current scenario with respect to funding in all segments, small, medium, and large developers. Maybe I'll start with Jayant, then Arun, and then Habib.
I mean, there's no rocket science. Stress is there today. Developers are going through stress. Funding has become a challenge. Banks are not as friendly as what they used to be in the past with developers. So I think we definitely see light at the end of the tunnel, and we are sure that things are going to look definitely positive. This I would also relate to, if I may combine it with the process which a developer goes through. For example, let's say for an MSB in Chennai, it takes about, correct me if I'm wrong, the developers here, anything between 10 months to 15 months to get an approval. That process eats into the viability of a project. It's as good as 14 to 16%. If that can be reduced, it will address the funding indirectly, not directly. This is what, that's one of things. And secondly, if we can get a reduction in stamp duty and the fees that the developers have to pay, landowners here have to get realistic. These are not direct implications on the funding, the question that you asked me, Shiva, but these are indirect. And all this, when you put together, gets, I mean, we'll have to see how viable the project is.
Thanks, Jayant. Arun, your thoughts?
I have a pretty razor sharp answer on this. Okay, I am seeing that they would have a wait and watch. Either the funds committed for already sanctioned projects where some part disbursement happened or zero disbursement, there would be a possible wait and watch, etc. for 1.5 months, 2 months. The minute they see that reasonable sales is happening, at least let's say 60% of normal potential sales of that developer or the market, this is what somebody would watch. 60-70% would happen. They would go ahead and disburse it. So what are we talking about here? Yeah, fine. You don't want to disburse it. Fine. What do you do with the money stashed up with you? Be the fund houses, NBFCs, whatsoever. Ultimately, even the banks. See, ultimately, they need to yield for them to go ahead and give their interest to the their own investors, right? How does it work there? Actually, I am not at all worried about that. Yeah, for sure. The next 1 to 2 months would be a wait and watch. That's what all the funding institutions told us. We have a huge exposure with quite a few funding institutions, more than 7, 8 large, the biggest ones. And we are clearly seeing that actually I'm thinking they want to see the trend of what's happening for a month and a half. Let's see what these guys are doing, what's happening, etc. They see the numbers clocking up, be it sales. They see the numbers clock up in terms of collections. And they see the reasonable amount of progress of construction happening. In about 2 months, this will get streamlined. They can't sit on this cash flow. I'm not at all worried. What are they going to do with that money? They'll have to disburse. They have a pressure to disburse. Let's not understand that we have a pressure to draw money from them. They have a pressure to disburse. Well, that's money borrowed from multiple big investors or the smaller size investment, retail investments from banks. So I don't know why this question even comes up. Yeah, I agree. It's about 2 to 3 months of watch, but after that it will get streamlined. For a 2 to 3 months, yes, there could be marginal pressure, but that's where it ends.
Thanks, Arun. Habib?
Yeah, I think bang on. I think he really hit the nail. I mean, there's no better answer. I think really strong, very straight. Yeah, I think since the negativity, since there is negativity in the last 3-4 months, and everybody is like wait and watch mode. So the bankers and other people are saying that we are slowed down a little. But I think as the sales improves, obviously I mean the investors to the bank, they have to get their dividends, so they will have to put money into real estate. I think, and then if a developer has the right project and if it's very clear, I think money will come somehow. Even out of 10 guys, somebody 8 guys says no, he will still go and approach the 2 guys who's having, and it will. So as long as the project is clear, the developer is clear, money will definitely come. And there is no issue. We'll have to just wait for another 1-2 months. When the sales improves, the things could be better in that funding aspect.
Chidi, your thoughts on?
I'm on the same view. See, and at the current scenario, definitely the wait and watch approach will continue. Once the sales numbers comes in, the collection comes in, then I don't see that's going to be an issue. But the issue actually which is cropping up is not the funding for the projects, the funding which is coming through the customers. See, if the customers' home loans are getting delayed, then it is getting re-evaluated. That's taking some time. So as you rightly said, the jobs or job security or the salaries, that's where the issue is. I think hopefully that should be also stabilize in next 2-3 months. You cannot go ever long. Once that is done, I think home loan is supported to the customer. I think we are back on track.
If I may interject 1 minute, if you don't mind, just one line.
Yeah.
I think August will be the critical month. If all the developers together push it hard and they see a normal trend of the Chennai market, 60% happening, be it their own trends, be it the market trends in terms of how much collection would have been disbursed, etc. 60% is a logical number. If that were to happen, December will be fully back on track. But if a 60% as a benchmark as a number would not happen, I would think then they would watch a little more and then infuse more.
Yeah.
But I'm not seeing a big concern here. 60% would happen. I think everybody would perform and 60% would happen. Be it construction, collection, reasonable number of sales. Yeah.
Dr. Kumar, are you facing any challenges in terms of this recent migrant labor workforce moving from one place to another place? Do you think that will affect the pace of construction, thereby affecting our sales? Do you see any concerns there?
Who's the question to?
Yes.
Dr. Kumar.
Yes.
Dr. Kumar.
Yeah. See, the migrant labor movement is well known now. They all, many of them have gone back to their natives. So I think we lost about 75% of our workforce from all the builders' sites. So that has really impacted the progress of projects. Yes, that is going to be a time delay. It is going to impose. So people are trying to bring back and they are trying to substitute with the locally available labor. There is no kind of reduction in labor. Some of the components can be bought ready-made and used. All kinds of measures are being taken by developers to overcome this challenge. It's a challenge which the builder community is facing. All construction issues are there. Materials, available materials, or no, it's not freely moving. So there is an impact on the progress of construction, the pace of construction, which is going to cause a little bit of delay in the deliveries. No questions on that. But actually that is pushing up costs. See, again, the real result is, what is going to happen? Is it going to suppress demand? No, it's going to increase demand because this is going to delay the delivery of the projects. This is going to delay the starting of new projects. And again, coupled with increase in costs of production, like just Chetty said, increase in cost of production, the new stock which is going to come in is going to be more expensive to build. So what's going to happen is, now people will realize that as you wait, the prices are going to go up rather than come down. So this is also coming as a blessing in disguise, that the people will be now pushed to buy right now rather than wait for a long time to come. So, and again, when even if the market resumes, when there is a stock of availability of labor is more, it will start increasing over time. It's a short-term phenomenon. It's not a long-term phenomenon. We have faced No, in the past, there are several such calamities which have come, but it will all be over probably within a few quarters of time.
Question to you, Chitti. Not from a Chennai perspective, from a Indian residential real estate perspective, do you think the time has come for a consolidation at some point of time in terms of developers across cities, you see a consolidation happening among developers? Because we had RERA, that time there was a buzz around it saying that there could be a possibility of consolidation. Do you think COVID as a crisis will further accelerate that process?
See, what we always said, this is an industry of unorganized sector. We have seen this becoming organized through various policies which has come in the country. We all wanted a real estate regulator in place. And I think that has made a lot of difference. The fly-by-night fly operators have gone. Now, the serious players who really wanted to be in business are in the operation. COVID has, if you are asking me, COVID is going to make things much more worse, sir. I would rather say COVID will make the existing or the developers who's in the field to make them more efficient. By given this last 100 days experience of COVID, it's made every developer in the country to be more effective and more efficient in terms of marketing. See, every buy method, they have put their new process in place for being more efficient. So I don't see any further damage happening on shrinking size of volume of developers. We have reduced quite a lot of developers in the past by bringing a good regulator in place, and serious developers are being in the business. And the trend is going to continue. The challenges will be, as we all discussed about the migrant labor or the technology, what is need to be applied in the business, or the way we have executed projects in the past need to be changed. All those is definitely the way of life in the future.
Thanks, Reddy. We have another 5 minutes to go, so I'll ask each one of you 2 or 3 things that we should try from the government as well as from the fraternity to get Chennai back in radar. In fact, that's the things that we're all trying to see how we can get Chennai back into the foremost thing. So just want to understand what are the things that government of Tamil Nadu to do to get things back in the radar for Chennai, which will help the entire community.
I think I'll start.
Yeah, Habib, you.
Yeah, I think more public expenditure should actually start. But this will definitely spur the economy. The public expenditure, government should announce big projects. So that is the number one solution, to solve this. And of course, state should market it better. But we've been talking to the government many times. They said they are actually poor in marketing. So it is like, organization like CIA, CREDAI and like that, we have to really definitely brand the state and the city. The infrastructure is compared to other cities, it is better, but still not enough. We have to really improve, more on the infrastructure so that this could spur the demand. And of course, from our perspective, the approval process has to be a single window, which we've been asking for. And the other one is, your stamp duty and your GST could be less so that it can improve. So these are the main broad parameters, which could actually change for us.
Then
I think the infrastructure spending by the government is critical here. They should make sure that that's one way of spurring the economy. Make in India. I think it's a concept which today every state is trying to encash on, and we must go knocking at every single company that's there and give them an opportunity and give them a red carpet welcome, saying that please come to our state. As a city, we have a port, we have an international airport, we have different corridors, we have the telecom corridor, we have the IT corridor, we have a manufacturing corridor. Not many states can really boast of this. Lastly, as stakeholders in the industry, the developers and agents, as us, as consultants as us, I think we are united, but we must work together and campaign together and make sure that we spread positivity and understand and educate a prospective buyer and tell him, listen, this is the time, come and buy your home. You're not going to get a better opportunity.
Arun?
See, would you make it a little more pointed, because I think you spread the two questions. I just want to
Sorry.
ask.
So, Arun, the question was that what do you want from the government? 2-3 things that get Chennai back in radar.
I think Habib, anyways, listed out the whole list which we have together as all the builders together. But I think a couple of things which possibly would be very critical now is the banking institutions willing to pass on the benefits of interest reduction to the home buyers. Because quite a few of the banks have not yet done that. That's very critical, because below 7% is announced only by a few bankers. Whereas for the interest which is being offered now, RBI is offered, I think there is a big scope for it to go down to 6.5%. So that's got to be done, and that will create a huge spur. That's point number one. Number two is actually the GST is a big issue. The input credit being removed is a big dent in terms of the price having gone up by 7-8% post that. So that's, if that were to be reduced, actually the builders would be happily willing to pass it on to the home buyers. And already stamp duty reductions have already, they've shown some indication to it, and possibly they'll support us more. With these things, I think we are good. I think I would want to restrict it to these two first points. The banking, housing finance institute companies to pass on the true interest benefits which are being offered to them to the home buyer. That's not being done. And what we hear is only the advices about us reducing the prices. And I think everybody's already bottomed out, and I don't think anybody's really going to reduce the price much. I'm sure when they come to the table, they would get some offers on the table of home buyer. But it's not going to be a standard overall reduction in the market. You're not going to see that.
Dr. Kumar?
Yes, unmute.
Sorry. Yes. Yeah. So I have a few things on this. See, I want this government, going to government should be a pleasant experience. This is, see, you have to attract investments into Chennai. It is very, very important. For that, in fact, I'm going even beyond the ease of doing business. I want the government of Tamil Nadu to focus on pride of doing business in Tamil Nadu. That shall be the motto. Pride of doing business shall be promoted. Its government should come for. I hear stories in China how the Chinese government welcomes investments to come into their state. It's a real red carpet they are doing. I think there must be some move on this. And then all approvals, not only approvals, online approvals, online service connections, and online registrations as well as the real estate sector is concerned. But more than that, to promote Chennai has got a lot of intrinsic strengths. For example, the accountants, chartered accountants, financial people, the Chennai has always been producing the great accountants for this country. So that the talent which is available in Chennai has to be promoted, and government should promote the financial sector, or the concept of encouraging the financial sector to set base in Chennai. This is one. Again, health-wise, Chennai is the best in the country. Government should really encourage hospitals and the health sector to grow. And automobile has been our strength. We should play to those strengths. You can't go and copy Bangalore. You can't go and copy Hyderabad. What are our strengths? First, focus on our strengths and then just give them a boost. The automobile sector. And then again, there was Aero City which was planned. That Aero City was a great concept that gives us Chennai the first more advantage in creating the products, some of the products for the airline industry. This was started with great fanfare. It got dropped off. I'm not saying something new. These are all things which have already been. Finance City has been happening. Health City has been on the talk. We have been. Automobile has been on our anvil, and the Aero City was thought of. And these have to be given really a push. Don't have to put somebody in the job on think on these lines and push. Give a great push to this city. And of course, airport. Now COVID has subdued the need for the airport, but I think it has been lingering for too long. I think the growth of air traffic in Chennai is going to be a major problem unless they resolve the airport issue very soon. So these are all broader things, and the pride of doing business. government should make it attractive for people to go to government, and everything should become online, and time-bound approvals, time-bound connections has to be made. Registration costs in Tamil Nadu is the highest in the country. So
Thanks, and thanks, Dr. Kumar. Final thoughts from you, Chidi?
In fact, you would have summed it up the last 5 minutes. My fellow developers and friends actually said what is Brand Chennai. Tamil Nadu government need not actually go and do something to promote, or we ourselves need not do something to promote. Naturally, it has the longest beach, it has the port, it has the airport within the city, and we are multi-talented. You know, we talked about health, we talked about institutions, number of institutions or engineering students coming out of colleges, or the education level, literacy level. End of the day, what exactly we wanted, it's not that we can demand only from government, we need to create job opportunities. With all this we have, Brand Chennai, yes, we know, potential we know, we have this great infra which is already available. I have seen only one thing in my 25 years of being in business. Few roads opened up, few roads. I'm just going to a little minor level of this thing. A road which is called OMR, or road on GST, or the inner ring road, or the outer ring road. I'm just taking these 4 examples. Imagine the kind of land parcels opened up for development. Forget real estate. Just creating these 4 roads within the city, it created so much of land parcels that no man land has become 3.5 FSI, 2.5 FSI. The acreage is becoming square foot, the square foot is becoming FSI, FSI is becoming price, value, wealth. So actually speaking, it's real estate is a piece of, it's available everywhere. Naturally, we got the talent. Naturally, we have the infra. We don't require to do much. We require to do only create job opportunities in the right manner. Once the jobs are created, the jobs are secured, people are talented, they are well educated, and we are the best talented in the country. I'm sure Brand Chennai doesn't require to be supported by with any other infra. Allow people to do business on their own. That's the easiest way of doing business in ease. Means your approval process should be shorter. It has to be digital. I think the entire COVID has taught everybody one, virtually reach, digitally reach, do Zoom calls. But the whole business can also be transformed in digital manner. So we need not go and meet anyone for any specific approvals at any point of time. That's the thing I used to say, allow us to do business, allow people to do their job. I think we will be flourishing, and we don't require anything special from government. Actually, we should be part of the government to really working on these fronts to make jobs available for people, and jobs should be secure for people. With that, I think we are covering. We are doing our best.
So with that we should be part of the government, and we should be partners in development. I think I'm summing it up. Wonderful discussion. Thanks. We are running out of time. I'm not summarizing. I'm over to you, Sapna.
Siva, we have some time. If you can just give us a gist of what the entire discussion we had today.
So the good part is that the site visits are improving, conversions are improving. There is a general scenario is that the customers are coming back to the market. It could be a pent-up demand which was there for March, April, May, which is showing now. But if this continues for next 2-3 months, all the speakers said it's a trend that is emerging. Great time for customers to come and buy. It's a great opportunity because the price points have bottomed out. The interest rates are at all-time low. Great opportunity. We call this an affordable synergy. Both the product pricing as well as the interest rates are the affordable zone. Spoke about design changes. Arun spoke about the fact that customers are looking at not at a study room but the carve-out space. He spoke about it. Habib came back and said that infra spending is more important from a Chennai perspective. Arun said what is required at this juncture is the financial institutions pass on the repo and reverse repo rate, which was done by RBI, back to customers, get the interest rates below 7%. could be 6.75, 6.8%, which will further trigger the end users back in the market. He also spoke about the fact of going back to the old regime of input credit, which will further soften the pricing, give benefits for the customer. Dr. Kumar spoke about pride of doing business. Chennai should be back in the track. I leave the thoughts with the final comments from Chitti, saying that at the end of the day, what we require is that we should partner. We have multifaceted, multi-talent across Chennai, which can take the city back to normal. That's it.
I think we had a really fantastic, views from all our speakers. We now have Mr. K.E. Ranganathan, Managing Director, ROCA, who's joining in the discussion. And we also have Ruhail Amin. He is the Senior Editor with Business World, who's joining in. Mr. Ranganathan, please, I would request you first to go ahead with your questions. You have listened to the entire discussion.
Yeah, I think it's quite an interesting conversation among them in terms of how the market is looking up. And one question to many of them is, the real estate is always something which people take time to buy, because they always check with friends, go to the site many times, keep looking around and look at the quality of construction. They co-participate in design and other aspects, So in that sense, this digital, how do they see this as a game changer? Because real estate being investments of 50 lakh, 60 lakh or 1 crore, I'm not too sure whether a customer will buy looking at some computer or some animation or something. So what is that we can do to help the customer to walk around freely without the fear of COVID? Of course, there are preventive mechanisms. You people are doing it. I'm aware of it. But what more can be done to excite them by physically going and seeing all these things?
Mr. Ranganathan, any specific speaker you would like to direct the question?
Yeah, maybe my friend Chitti Babu and Arun both are.
Yeah, see, we can't go against the wave. We need to understand and appreciate the sentiments of the people,
Yes.
the customer. The fear factor is always there. We need to address that. We cannot really make it happen immediately. But one thing which is happening now, people are listening. Those days when the marketing call goes, probably the call will be disconnected quickly and they said they'll call back. Now we can find the trend. The calls are lasting for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. They are listening. They are asking questions. The sales guys are trying to explain. Then they are sharing them with the digitally, whatever can be provided, Virtual tours are happening. Mock-ups, which is already done. Model homes are brought to their home. It has been facilitated with a lot of information for them to take take a balanced decision. Now, between the developers, which developer they want to choose, which location they want to do, which is the right pricing, where will they get the banking support, which bank is beneficial. See, the conversation is really lasting. In fact, I remember 10 years before, 15 years before a customer comes, he sits and watch a presentation for 3.5 hours, not less than that. He won't get up. But today, last few years, I think, probably, we are not seeing people like that. The transaction gets over in next 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Okay.
But today, we can definitely see people are patiently listening, people are understanding, people are trying to get more information from developers. They are comparing. That's a good sign. Knowing and buying or getting all the information, then deciding is a good sign. So sometimes a slowdown is also good. Sometimes a slowdown is also good because people are understanding and buying.
Okay.
We need to give that kind of time.
Interesting.
Arun, you would like to add something to it?
He has a point. There is a concern. Actually, let's understand there is a concern. Because home buying is not going to really happen digitally. Experiences can be happen. So let's segregate or bifurcate this into two. Earlier, what used to happen is he used to come multiple visits. He'll come first, bring his friend, he'll check, then he'll bring his wife, then he'll check, then he'll possibly bring his whole family, and then possibly he'll give a check. So that kind of multi-visit used to happen. Now I'm very clearly seeing that we begin to digitally provide information to him. And today he can talk to us like on the, to our sales, he'll be able to communicate on a video, possibly see, get a sense of what really this guy is going to say, get a whole experience. And then he would, by and large, restrict his visits to 2 before he takes a decision, and that is okay. See, let's understand, as much as COVID concern is there, even for buying a vegetables, everybody's walking up every week to public places. Buy a home, that's the biggest investment for him. To make it 2 visits, and that's not going to really put him in so much of a risk. So I think we can park that aside. I don't think that's going to be a big concern. I think he'll find a way to keep himself safe. We'll find ways to keep him safe.
Very good.
Go ahead.
Can I ask the question?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I have a different perspective. My question is from a different perspective, which is like maintaining the customer connect during these times. Every industry is facing that challenge. It has been a pause moment. So I want to understand, how have you been able to keep that connect? Somebody made a purchase before COVID started, and then suddenly there was a pause phase, or somebody wanted to buy a property. How are you maintaining that connect? Just want to get some sense of it.
Dr. Kumar.
It's open to everybody. Yes.
Dr. Kumar, if you would like to take that.
Yes. See, now, as you say, we are doing that digitally. Yeah. Today, the world of WhatsApp. There is a WhatsApp. There is video conferencing. We do video conferencing with the customer. We send WhatsApp messages. So it's easy to connect, and people also now were very comfortable dealing with you digitally. So the contact is actually been very good. And now they have, as Chitty said, they have the time to listen to you. They have the time to chat with you. So actually the communication with the customers have improved during this time. This is what I observed. So this is really good time.
Right. There's also, just a follow-up question. There's also a high dependence of, the real experience, of buying a property. Like people actually want to say, because high capital intensive thing. From the tech side, there used to be a tech side involved, but now has the tech side evolved? Are there more investment being made by the real estate players on the tech side to make sure that people from the comfort of their homes are able to see it properly, make a deal? Are you looking at that side as well?
Absolutely, the tech side has been evolving for quite some time now. It's already evolved, and most of us have gone into that space. What is happening currently is the utilization of those developments are much better now. We are able to make presentations online, the virtual walkthroughs, which are now being put to better use. Because it can continue to improve. We can we have to make investments and continue to improve the digital experience for the customer. Right now we are making it almost easy for him. He gets every information online, everything he knows now. Probably only one visit, as Arun said, the whole family now comes. They come together because they have the time now. So they all come together once, and one visit, they take a call. So it is, yes, whatever further can be improved, we shall be keeping on improving the digital experience. I think a lot of work has already gone into that from the major developers in this country.
Thanks.
In fact, a lot of questions have come to us about price correction. And in fact, as Dr. Kumar said, that price correction has happened. And in fact, with the launches becoming lesser, the prices will go up going forward. Siva, this is a question for you. You are part of, interacting with the buyers, you are interacting with the developers. In fact, one viewer said that Mumbai prices are not going down. Should I buy in Chennai, and his prices are going to go down there? Should I, is it attractive enough? What is your view on that price correction?
There is a room for developers to cut the price today. There is absolutely no room for developers, especially in a price band. If you take Chennai as a market, where the maximum sales happens between 3,500 to 6,000 rupees per square feet, and I don't see any room for any developer to have a substantial correction. Some of the developers might be extending some discounts today to just to get just to trigger the customers to come and buy, get the cash flows in, and so that there is positivity around not only among the customers but also among the teams today. So that brings confidence to the market. So that is what they're trying to do. I seriously don't believe there is any margin, there is any room for correction or price reduction. Chennai as a market has been going down from 2013 as far as the sales is concerned. Things have started picking up in last quarter. 2019, last 6 months was phenomenal for the Chennai market. But unfortunately, the COVID happened. Current margin levels, most of developers can come back and say this, close to about 8 to 10% at this juncture. I don't see any room at this juncture to cut any price. It's a great opportunity for all the customers to come and pick product today and enter this as an opportunity. And because at some point of time, this opportunity will go. And it's a matter of another 3 months to 4 months to enter this time. Great opportunity. Any smart investor or customer should come and buy the product. That's my view.
That's which means you're saying this is the right time for buyers if they are looking at this, the best time to get the best.
Find a better time than this to buy a product. Interest rates all-time high. Property price have come down. In fact, if you take the inflation adjusted price point for last 6-7 years, I think the prices have come down in Chennai. So from that, I don't think the prices can further go down. Great opportunity for customers to buy.
It does. Mr. Ranganathan, you would like to ask something, another question?
Yeah, I think one of the challenges, as we are talking about margins, the ability to drop prices is not there. We are very clear. But on the same, the supply side seems to be very less now. It's only 8,000 unsold units and no new units being launched. So the challenge for the builders definitely is going to be to manage the working capital, because they have already invested and there are few unsold units, and that is where the challenge comes. So is there anything they are expecting from the banking system or from the government of India on how the real estate funding can help them? Because everybody needs a financial help now to stay, rather than, I was a little surprised when somebody commented that best time to drop prices and sell and make some, life for builders, which is completely wrong in my personal view. So I don't think people are desperate to sell and close, because they are all reputed builders and they are going to be there forever. So we are not closing the shop asset, So in my view, I think the question to our friends is, what benefit or what support do you think the government of India, or I'm not talking about state government, more from the government of India or from a real estate body, to help you people on the financial front? What kind of support you are looking at? Are you expecting a interest-free loan from the government of India, or what will help you to sustain? I remember there was some announcement by the central government on creating a fund of some distressed fund or something like that. So maybe some of them can help us to understand, so that if they stay healthy, then obviously the prices will come back in a couple of months.
Mr. Habib, what kind of financial help government can provide to the developers?
I think number one, government doesn't disturb us, that's the biggest help. We don't need anybody's help. Clear policies, give the approvals quickly, don't make us run around here and there. And of course, the funding has to be proper, but this is a very stable industry. I think funding has to come, it has to be cheaper. Nothing much, I think, make our life easy. We have to do, we are big investors in this country. We have so much trust, everyone has an option to move to any country, but we are still staying back in this country, our own country. But, so you have to trust us, give us the space to work freely. So ease is what we want. And of course, the faster, all of the other things, I think most people have spoken.
I think it is more true for other cities where, like Mumbai, where a lot of developers are over leveraged. And, now they are stuck with, high interest rates on one end and inventory is not getting. So that is why the stress fund and everything that government announced. So, but I believe Chennai has always been more like an end user market. In fact, another audience question that we have had is, because of COVID, obviously projects have got delayed for various reasons. So are developers going to give some kind of a discount or allowance to existing buyers? Is it expected? Jayant, if you would like to take that.
Sapna, I would
I
like to
would,
answer Ranganathan's question before that. Just like to add something to Ranganathan's question. Can I do that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. See, the biggest help. See, we have seen what is happening. The whatever measures which have been announced only by the RBI. Some moratorium period has been given. Nothing. No waiver of interest. Waiver of interest would have been great.
Correct.
For the lockdown period, for the few months. If the waiver of interest was given, that would have been great. That would have helped everybody. That has not happened because they say they have their own reasons. Forget it. But forget about helping us. What we are seeking the government of India to do is help the customer to buy. Don't fund us. Give them the benefit. Give them the reduction in GST. Allow the input credit back to be, because that is costing a lot more money to the customer. The withdrawal of input credit is doing great harm to the customer, which nobody talks about. The reintroduction of input credit mechanism in GST and real reduction in GST, not this 5% gimmick that doesn't help. So that will help the customer to buy. One. Number two, again, the buyers can be given. See, the taxes for the buyers, income tax deduction for the entire amount of interest paid towards purchase of the home loan. If that is given, because see what is happening, the customer takes a loan and buys a house. The house is an infrastructure which is getting created, which is going to last a long time. Infrastructure create. What do you do by collecting taxes? The government collects taxes. What are they expected to do? They are expected to improve the infrastructure. In addition to whatever policing, whatever the basic cleansing, they have supposed to create infrastructure. And what government's efficiency, they collect taxes. Finally, what gets improved after all the expenditures gone, only 30, 40% will go to the ground level. You allow the customer to invest directly in the houses, the housing infrastructure, 100% the money goes into creation of infrastructure. So you don't have to collect taxes, especially when the money is going into creating housing infrastructure. So the government of India give 100% income tax exemption for the home buyer for the interest paid on housing loan. They don't have to do anything for the developers. Leave us free. As Habib said, don't disturb us. Don't put more and more trouble on our neck. Don't torture us. Leave us free. But help the customer on these two aspects. That will be a great thing from Government of India.
All this exchequer cost, okay? But let me tell you one more idea. If they stop this lockdown, that would be a great favor. Because actually the market really picked up in the June first week and really started getting into momentum. The fact that they locked down again, it's again clamped down. It does a lot of psyche to the consumer. The home buyer gets worried now, what's happening? That uncertainty is a bigger problem. Without any cost to the government, if they can really stop these lockdowns going forward, we obviously asking people to be more cautious, more aware and beware of what they're doing in terms of ensuring the COVID doesn't spread. If the lockdown stops, the economy will propel by itself.
That's true. In fact, one of our viewers has said, why not give 100% exemption on interest rate, in the IT, in the income tax. So that will really boost. Jayant, I come back to you for, should developers give some kind of allowance or discounts on cause of delay?
Why should they?
Or delivery?
I mean, why should they? All of them are going through tough times. I mean, we are all partners in the same industry. Today, a buyer should be a little more understanding. These are unprecedented times. I mean, when your developer is going through this phase, shouldn't you be standing by him? He's giving you the maximum that he can give you. What's left with him is wafer thin margins for him to run his show. When you go back to buy your second home from the same developer, I'm sure he's going to remember that you stood by him during tough times, and he is going to make sure that he will give you that extra bit at that point of time. But at this point of time, I think as responsible buyers and all of us as stakeholders in the industry, we must stand by each other.
Yeah, I think that this is the time everyone from buyers to financiers to developers, everyone will have to pitch in. Another question, Mr. Chitti Babu, I'll give it to you from one of the viewers. Is it a good time to invest in pre-launch projects? Is it a good investment?
Yeah, see, there is absolutely no doubt. Why we should doubt that pre-launch product should be looked at differently. It has its own advantage. You will be getting the price benefit. I'm sure pre-launch will come with price benefit, right? Pre-launch will come with special schemes. Pre-launch will come with a lot of options for you to choose. So I don't see, pre-launch will have a different scenario after COVID or after RARA. I don't see, because anyway it's a RARA registered project. Pre-launch is always beneficial to the customer.
And in fact, the timelines would have already been adjusted with the present scenario.
Of course, yes.
For the delivery. So they are more assured of, the timelines being completed, the project being completed on those timelines.
What exactly we wanted is we want more launches.
Okay, all right. So we want more launches. In fact, there is another very, interesting question. One of them has said, with work from home becoming a norm, and if you take a premises on rent, you can show it as a business expense. So why not go for a rental housing? Any one of you who would like to, take
We are
that?
not. I'm definitely. We are not. See, housing is housing, either in the form of rental or in the form of. As long as customers move into a home, we are happy.
Yeah.
At least someone has bought that house.
Yes, we are wealth providers. We are space providers. We are happy as long as it is built up. We don't want to be seen a vacant home.
See, let me. Okay. Today's decision, the best way people have been staying, created wealth for themselves is home commitment, because home is the only opportunity where it gets to save 30, 40, 50,000 rupees consistently. Whereas otherwise, if this disposable income is otherwise, he would have squandered away. Look at it. Actually, even a lot of systematic investment plan and stock market, a lot of people do it. And during a little bit of a tough time, he would just stop it for the month. Whereas home, as a first home, which becomes emotional, and that's his roof or that's his investment, he normally ensures the payments are done. He's consistent. He's bought the home in the 15, 20 years period, whatever be the period. So I would think the best discipline for a good family is to possibly buy homes, because that gives him an opportunity to invest 30, 40, 50, 60,000 rupees per month as EMI, which he can prolong. That's a good thing for him. That discipline is what creates for him. Yeah.
So that's an investment, because you will be disciplined and you will be investing long time. So, and you are creating an asset for yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we also had a poll running. So we had about more than 1,200 people watching on Facebook, and apart from, almost 150 on Zoom. So there was a poll that we had run, and in that poll we said, do you see prices going down in next 3 to 6 months? 45% say no, they do not see the prices going down in next 3 to 6 months. Again, as we spoke about discount and allowances from developers on cause of delay. Again, very 50-50 answer. 40% say yes, they should. 39% say no, we do not expect any kind of discount from developers, because of, everyone understand the reason for delay. The majority of people who, when we ask them, what is the timeline you see, expected timeline for the recovery of real estate in Chennai, 65% have said that within 6 months the real estate will recover. So that's a very positive sign that we are getting from people. So on that note, I think, we had a very good discussion. We had a very good viewership, and, very interesting facts and figures have come out, not only from our speakers, but also from our viewers. Thanks, Siva, for, moderating such a wonderful panel and the conversation. Mr. Ranganathan for joining us, and Ruhail Amin for taking out time to be here. All our speakers, I thank you on behalf of Realty Plus for being here and being part of this discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Realty Plus. Thank you, Shiva. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Mr. Arun. Thank you, Dr. Kumar. Thank you,
All the
Mr.
best.
Chitti Babu. Thank you, Mr. Habib. Thanks, Siva.
Yeah.
Thank
Bye.
you.